When you talk of tradition, she knows tradition. When you talk of education, she knows education. When you talk of custom, she knows custom. When you talk of religion, she knows God. When you talk of relationship, she has excellent relationship with everybody who came across her.
A gem in her time and an icon in her community. She was beautiful in and out, jack of many trades and master of all. She was blessed and successful in everything she tried her hands at. An exemplary wife, daughter, mother, and teacher.
One of Asian Kingdom.
Duties were sure to be performed. She was very strict. Not to the point of distraction, but to ensure that all you as a child is supposed to do, you were able to do it and achieve it within the time frame. She also built these corrections and teachings with love. That was the most important part of it. So that when she's telling you to do a duty, a task, you don't feel you are being oppressed. You don't feel like something that you have to do as a child.
A very wonderful woman, an epitome of a virtuous woman, as described in the Bible. She was a wonderful woman, an educationist, a writer.
Mother that loved her children, beautiful woman inside and outside, compassionate, brave, distinguished. In one word, she was love.
To know her as a disciplinarian. Yeah, I can look back and say disciplinarian. I don't think that is what I actually thought it was when I was small, because then I thought she was mean. But as I grew up, I knew that she had to take those positions to be able to make us who we are today, myself and my siblings.
Enugoshimama, the Ezinediko one of Ezionum Kingdom, Chief Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe, was born in Asaba on the 16th of November 1936 into the family of His Royal Highness Okmaluku Otuya Enegide of Obenami Quarters, Eziono in Ukwani local government area of Delta State of Nigeria. She was the only daughter and eldest of 5 children. Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe had her early formal education at the local authority school, Amai, from 1948 to 1954, Convent School, Asaba, from 1955 to 1956, from where she obtained her first school leaving certificate in 1956. She became a probation teacher, and after teaching for 4 years, she went for a 2-year teacher's training college grade 3 course in Warri under the sponsorship of the then Okwane District Council. On graduation, she was deployed to her alma mater, LA School, Amai, where she taught for 4 years. Not being satisfied with her educational standard, Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe went back to school to obtain her higher elementary certificate at the popular Nana College, Warri. Still propelled with the burning desire for higher education, she enrolled at College Education, Warri, where she passed with flying colors to obtain her National Certificate of Education in 1982. She then proceeded to serve her country as a corps member from 1982 to 1983. She was not slowed down by the fact that she, at that time, had already given birth to 7 children and was still carrying on her profession as a teacher. Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe retired in 1990 after 35 glorious years of meritorious and unblemished service to her country and mankind. For the 35 years, Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe worked as a teacher. She lived in many communities. She lived and taught at Onichukwani, Amai, Eziono, Iseluku, and finally retired at Umotu Mixed Secondary School, Umotu. She retired but was not tired educationally, especially in the area of teaching Ukwani language. She demonstrated this by writing the must-read book series, Teach Yourself Ukwani Books 1 and 2, which she dedicated to Ndukwa's sons and daughters, both home and abroad. For future reference for the posterity, copies of books 1 and 2 of Teach Yourself Ukwani were donated to Novena University Library, Ogume, Delta State Library, Asaba, and Delta State University Library, Abraka. It is said that traveling is a part of education. After her retirement, Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe traveled wildly within and outside Nigeria. She visited several cities in England, Scotland, Canada, and the US, where she spent a lot of her latter years in Glenadine, Maryland. She became a US citizen on the 3rd day of December 2013 until her death, enjoyed dual citizenship as a Nigerian national and as a US national.
I remember the first day I met Grandma Agnes Ikukaiwe. I had gone to visit IK and NECA with my kids, and I remember walking into their home and walking up to her to say hello, and she just gave me the biggest smile and the biggest hug, and she hugged my kids as well. She was so full of that sort of welcoming spirit. She just immediately took to us, and she was so easy to chat to. She was so easy to get along with. And over the years, we met her now and again, and you could just see the love, the care, the compassion she had towards everyone around her, not just her children or her grandchildren.
Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe was happily married to Double Chief Thomas Ahanenu Ikukaiwe, who hailed from Owabi. The marriage took place in 1956, when many of us here were not born, and they were blessed with 7 wonderful children, 4 men and 3 ladies.
The word go, he encouraged us to be hardworking and also to help. In fact, she gave us high moral standard from our youth. We were like shining examples to our peers. We worked very hard. The fact that she was a teacher did not prevent us to do farm work more than the average villager whose parents' occupation was predominantly farming.
She taught us self-respect and respect for others. Even though she loved us unconditionally and provided for all our needs, never all our wants, she never spared the rod.
Onwere na ọzọ anyị zụchafụ anyị. Onwere ụmụ esa anyị esa bụ graduate. Ife school na dị sọ Igbo, ife ụka na dị sọ Igbo.
Marian, as a teacher, she had love for teaching. So instead of the cane, she used the words more to teach. So the discipline we're talking about is not taking cane to drive you up and down around the compound and sitting you down. When you are wrong, she will correct you by teaching you the right way to do it, by using adages, local balances, you know. All the while we tell you that there was a story he told us about the tortoise, for example. When it was time to take out the farms, tortoise went to the farmland because they said everybody must take the land as, you know, to the size of your power, which is your hands, as much as your hands can carry. The tortoise went to the farmland, placed his sand on the ground, marked it, brushed it, cleared it, and finished everything the same day. When it was time to go and plant, the tortoise used 3 days to look for the place he cleared because he was lazy. You know, instead of going to do work the way everybody will do, he just chose, I took as much as I can take, and that is that. By the time he used 1 day to clear, but he used 3 days to look for that farmland. It tells you that if you think the shortcut will save you, it will not going to get you anywhere, because in the long run, you spend more time trying to make up for that which you avoided at the beginning.
Related with her extended family so much that right from our childhood, we do spend Christmas holidays in my maternal home. All my uncles, all my grandfather's relations, all my grandmother's relations, there's none of them that we don't interact with. Many of them live with us. Same with my father's side. A lot of my father's nephews and nieces lived with us in the house under her. Even when my father is not around, when he traveled out of the country to study, we still live together peacefully. She had a perfect relationship with the extended family.
My fondest moment was when I got a surprise visit from her during my youth service. I was in the classroom when I got a call my mom was around. I was so surprised and happy. She came all the way from Delta State to Kwara State to come visit me. That was the kind of love my mom had for her children.
She acknowledges it when you do something right, and she rewards you for it. But, you know, there's one I will never forget, and that is when you come back from school and you have a street match going on. You find yourself in the field. You know, in say 30 minutes, say you're supposed to do something at home and you left it and you went to play football. She comes to the field and they grab you and take you back home. So those are, you know, some of the things that built us to who we are today.
All the communities she had lived, Mrs. Agnes Ikukaiwe was known for her industrious nature. She was a renowned farmer, farming acres upon acres of farmland, producing yams, cassava, plantains, and more. She also established acres of cash crops, including but not restricted to palm plantations, pineapple orchards, and fruit trees. Apart from farming, she was also known for her business acumen, as she had at one time or the other traded on various commercial products, including clothing materials, London and Nigerian wax, palm produce, fish, pure water depot, and more recently, she operated a borehole water supply enterprise. Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe was a devoted Christian, a full-time member of First Baptist Church, Glenarden, Maryland, USA, and the Nigerian Baptist Church, Umuotu, where she was seen as a dedicated mother to the work of God and the uplifting of the life of the underprivileged members of the society.
During her visits to her children here in Scotland, Ikukaiwe, you know, she became not just She's not just a mother for them, but she became a mother figure for many in these parts. So I want to thank God for her life. I want to thank God for her life. I want to thank God for her journey. I want to thank God for the impact that she made. I want to thank God for the fact that she loved God so much. Or I want to thank God for the fact that she was so accommodating. She made everyone peaceful. I want to thank God because even in her visit here, everyone could feel her impact. She has a motherly disposition. I want to thank God greatly for her.
Mrs. Agnes Ikukaiwe was an evangelist, a soul winner, the leader of the soul winning team of First Baptist Church Omotu, a philanthropist, and above all, a woman of deep faith who lived what she preached, a willing laborer in the Lord's vineyard. Combining her passion for the scriptures and Okwani language, she was actively involved in translating the Holy Bible into Okwani.
She loved everything about God, and even joined the group that translated the English Bible to Kwale language.
It is said that every human being is a political being, and Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe was no exception. She was a political stalwart and a bigwig in the political scene. She was a member of the great People's Democratic Party (PDP) of Nigeria. As a person always interested in the social, economic, and spiritual welfare and development of mankind, she associated herself with many organizations where her influence was well felt. She was a social engineer, always going all out to put right whatever she observes as wrong in people or the society at large. She belonged to various groups and organizations, including the Women of Eziono, Ladies Social Group of Omotu, Charity Club Omotu, Igile Women Society of Omotu, Otu Ifnaya Women Club of Eziono Community in Diaspora, Obiarako Branch National Council of Women's Society, Okwani Chapter. Her high degree of socialization, care and service to humanity, and her stated objective of ensuring the unfettered education of her children and other relations earned her the memorable greeting, Enwe Goshimama, which means, let the youth have a progressive future, to which she would respond, Kikeila tea, literally meaning for the elderly or aged to drink tea or have a good life. Since her youth, she demonstrated her love for her hometown. This is exemplified by her continuous saying, I am proud to be Eziono's daughter.
Evangelism in Nigeria is a problem. Anywhere we visit, they are sick, they need help. I told them, we are going to print papers. Let us source for money. So at times we collect food. Even we ask church to help us, to take the food to the needy. Last year, we have about 15 needies. 2 died. This year, we added 10. The way we work with these needies, we visit them, we ask them, how are you feeding? They will say, church children are helping. Praise be to God, because the Christians are at work. Again, I need to raise the youth to follow us. If you are taking a youth to follow you to evangelism, maybe the parents are not Christian. They cannot go because they can't pay transport. That is the reason why we always beg for them. Again, these youths are interested to go, but to transport them is a problem. So we task ourselves
We asked church, at times if 20 youths want to go, we may be able to carry only 3 or 2. Last year, we went to Agbo, evangelism. We went to Were, evangelism. We went to Asaba, evangelism. We have to carry these children. Oh, the help you are going to give us, when I go back, or how we used it, and how far we have gone, I will report back.
She had Asianum at heart, and she continued to show this clearly. She made monetary donations to Asianum development programs. She provided a golden trophy with prize money to Otulum Primary School, Asianum. She was instrumental to the installation of the first telecommunications mast and MTN network in Asianum. She demolished her building foundation to provide the land. She used every opportunity at her disposal to assist the Asianum community. For example, when she was at the local education authority, she assisted many Asianum sons and daughters to gain teaching appointments. She also ensured that more teachers were posted to the town school to fill vacant positions that was militating against the educational prospects of the town's youth. She pushed that the town could be shared into 2 to ensure the town got its deserved classification as a major schooling environment. She was always at Asianum to help the needy and give the community advice whenever the need arose. Even when she could not be physically present, that did not stop her. From her sickbed in the US, she sent COVID-19 relief to the Asianum community. She received several certificates and appreciation letters from the community and the Ministry of Education, and in 2014, she was conferred with the title of Ezinediko I of Asianum Kingdom by the Asia of Asianum Kingdom, His Royal Highness R. Osauta.
Impacted in the society, not just in Okwani society, anywhere she found herself. Take Aberdeen, for example. Everybody that knew us, everybody that came around us, if you meet my mom, she picks it up with you. You think it's either your mom or your friend.
She helped the poor. She was passionate about helping the poor. You know, part of her method for soul winning is establishing widows, women. In fact, while she was even in a hospital bed, she asked us, she sent money that we should go to Asianum and share palliative to the poor.
Her impact on her home community of Asianum, Owabi, and Umutu cannot be quantified. Her selfless nature gained her friends and lasting relationships all over the world.
Me enjoy coming to the village. I was brought up in Lagos. Mostly my life is in West. Everything about me was for Lagos. But immediately I came into her, I came into the family and I met her. She removed the fear of traveling to the village from me. She made the home welcome.
Very kind and energetic, full of life. And throughout, she has maintained the same disposition.
Loving. She was just so kind, and she was just always very caring. And she was also very strong and energetic. It was such an inspiration to all of us all the time, how very strong she was, you know. And she's always been caring for as long as I've known her. Even when she's not in the UK, she messages me, I message her. You know, she's just a wonderful, wonderful, you know, mother to all of us.
She offered to help me take care of my daughter while I was going back to work after childbirth. And you know, for most of us moms, you know, it can be quite difficult getting that child care transition from birth and going back to work. But Grandma made it so easy for me. She was there for me while I was going back to work, and she was just so loving, so smiling, so caring.
Best mother and friend in this planet Earth. She was an example of unconditional love, kindness, respect, and integrity. She was a woman of great virtue, filled with wisdom, strength, compassion, a shining example of womanhood.
Forget, first and foremost, the impartations she has given us. I wouldn't want to. From childhood, because we really more stayed with her. There is one very particular thing she does, and that is waking up very early in the morning. There is nobody, I don't want to know whatever you did. There is no single person that can wake up first before her. Before 5 o'clock a.m., she's already awake. She has taken a bath. Before then, she has gone to her garden, because near to the house, there's a garden she has in her house.
Impacted society a lot. She was a teacher, she told me, and she loved farming and taking care of her family and everybody in her church. Was such a dedicated woman.
Of mine from Ogwugwa scheme, and told my mother they lost the brother. And Mama said, "Wow, that means your brother's wife is a widow right now." And the guy said, "Yes." Immediately, Mama gave him something to give the late brother-in-law, and my friend was moved. He was like, "Guy, this is your mother-in-law. Hey, this woman must be very, very godly."
An educator, a writer. She made a presentation to the youth on the importance of learning our Okwani language during the convention of Ndokwa Association in America in 2012.
Mother-in-law, Chief Mrs. Agnes Ikukaiwe, was an embodiment of success in her journey to this world. Mama was an astute scholar in the beauty of nature. She loved farming and enjoyed being close to nature. She made friends with children, strangers, and different people from different age groups without prejudice.
Most people around her really picked up their rightful ways through Mama. She was a nice woman.
She was a mother to me, and she was an example of woman. Our relationship grew over the years. She was a woman that I can count on. Anytime I have difficulty in my marital life, I call on her.
She taught me to be charitable. She taught me the way to love the family as well. We do organize family meetings because we love one another, so she organized family meeting in my dad's place.
Grandma impacted our lives in many different ways. Like, she taught us how to be nice to our siblings when we had fights. She also taught us how to be nice to strangers and how to do good deeds. She always taught us to help the homeless and help the needy.
Ma spent most of the time with us here in Aberdeen because we really needed her help and support, which she was there to give to us from 2008 that I had my first child to 2018. Mama come regularly. She was always here every year, and she spent less than 2 months, 3 months with us. And every time Mama came, I had that impact as if my mother was with me, because Mama was never judgmental. Mama would never say anything wrong about someone. Instead, she would always talk about the love of Christ with you. She will always talk about her growing up, the impact she has made in the community and in her church. She was really a blessing to me and everyone that came around me. And she, in fact, even all her friends here in Aberdeen, they always talk about Mama. They miss Mama because a lot of people didn't know she wasn't my mom for a very long time until they came very close to the house, and that was when they knew she was my mother-in-law because of how we treated each other outside.
One of my most memorable moments with her was when she took us swimming. That was the first time I ever stepped foot in any body of water before. Of course, we were shy when he told us that back then when they were young, they used to do it all the time. That gave me the courage to go swimming. Of course, I wasn't stable at first, so I had to lose a lifeboat to stay in the water. It was very fun. I will never forget that day.
In the Jonum, where she comes from, Hari village, she's a palace chief. When you see a woman who is a palace chief, you know that that woman has achieved a lot, not only for her family, but the village as a whole. There are only 2 of them like that are palace chiefs. Back in my father's place, that is the in-laws place. Like I said, all of them take her as a mother. There is none of them that will say she did not get help, either financially or advice-wise or counseling-wise from Mama, or in the terms of settling quarrels and squabbles. He comes in without wasting time, and the problem, once he gets there, the problem is away.
One cannot end this without looking back and saying that every parent should emulate Chief Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe, the mother of bankers, doctor, teacher, lawyer, engineers, and the sister to surveyor, engineer, and auntie to professionals, by endeavoring to make all efforts in bringing up their children with the fear of God, and serve as a role model by providing good example to their children and words to create a better society. Every good thing they say must have an end. On September 12, 2020, Chief Mrs. Agnes Ogwugwa Ikukaiwe was called home to be with her Maker. We give God all the glory as we celebrate a life very well lived with the assurance that she is now resting in the bosom of the Lord.
Mama,